Hello everyone, my name is Nokanya Hlabangana and welcome to Voice It Youth Talk Show, a talk show for the youth, from the youth, whereby as the youth we get to voice out challenges that we may not be able to communicate with our parents, guardians or even our friends. Well, Voice It has got your back. I'm not alone. Joining me today is my lovely co-host Brendan.
Hello, this is Brandon, and today we are under the theme real life issues. And under this theme particularly, we're on the topic, is it wrong to feel depressed, anxious or overwhelmed as a Christian? Now today as guests, we've got my two handsome brothers, Prince and Brandon, and I'll give them an opportunity to introduce themselves.
Good day, everybody. My name is Prince Bokangnyati, and it's an honor to be here.
And the name is Brandon Sibelu. Likewise, it's an honor to be here.
Right, let's get right into it. Do you think that it is okay or acceptable to accept that you have depression or you are overwhelmed or rather you are anxious as a Christian?
Okay.
I think it is very much important to admit to that.
Right.
Okay.
First of all, my understanding of depression, anxiety, and being overwhelmed, it's all just a basic of misaligned truth and lack of peace. Misaligned truth and lack of peace. Now, what is our truth? You know God loves you. You know whatever you ask shall be given to you. You know God will never forsake you. That is the truth. It's in the word. That is the truth.
Yeah.
So knowledge and acceptance of that truth will surely give you peace. Now, acceptance also plays a huge part. Acceptance of the truth will give you peace. Now, how do we accept truth? Acceptance plays a huge part in the matter of, even with sin, you have to accept, I have sinned.
Right.
I have sinned, you confess, and you ask for forgiveness. Now, also accepting and admitting that, Lord, I am in this gutter, I'm suffering. This is the first step.
Yeah.
Now, accepting the truth will give you peace. Now, this is the twist. Jesus says, I am the truth, the way, and the life.
Yeah.
Acceptance of the truth, Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior, will surely give you peace.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, actually, what is an example, a biblical example of someone who had depression? We've got Job and Elijah.
Yeah.
But Elijah, when he ran away from Jezebel, when he was in the desert, he got to a point where he asked God to take his life.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That is how depressed he was. God had wrought so many miracles through Elijah. He was a powerful prophet, but even he got to a point where he asked God to take his own life. So definitely clouds of darkness can assemble around a Christian. It is very common and it is very possible. And now we should see how we deal with this particular thing, because sometimes it can feel like, especially in Christian circles, that it's not okay to be depressed. You know, so then when we say, is it right to admit it, like what you said, yes, it's right to admit that there is depression. There's people in the Bible who have been depressed at some point.
Let's not forget again the main man himself, Jesus Christ, in the mountain of Gethsemane, when he was crying, saying, Lord, please take this cup away from me. He felt like real low, and he ended up getting support because he needed that support at that point. So getting depressed, it's part of life. It's, part of the Christian walk.
I love how you say support. When in his example, we know what to do.
Exactly.
It said, we can't compare our depression to what he went through. It says he got so depressed that he sweat drops of blood. Now that's a medical condition. I'm forgetting the name, but there's actually a medical condition where you've got so much stress that your blood vessels rupture. They burst, all of them, and you start sweating blood. Now very few people actually survive that. But Jesus was so depressed. So even in his depression, who did he go to for comfort? He prayed to God.
The big man
that should also be our own example on what we are meant to do.
True. On that issue, since we're already covering mental health, what are some common misconceptions about mental health in the Christian community?
I feel like the most common misconception is that us as Christians, we cannot feel depression. You're a Christian, you cannot be depressed, you cannot feel anxious.
Yes, Lord.
You are not praying enough. Which is crazy because, like Brendan said, we see a very powerful man, a man anointed by God, Elijah. A man who sent fire from heaven onto
Drop
the
it.
prophets of
Yeah.
Baal. He ran under a tree and prayed to God, quote unquote, I have had enough.
Yeah.
Take me away. A powerful man. Now, in this situation, what does God do? God did not send an angel to go up to him to tell him to pray more.
Yeah.
He did not send an angel to condemn him. God sent an angel to comfort him.
Yeah.
You know, now we should take that as an example as Christians, that it's not every time when people are going through struggles, we have to condemn them.
Yeah.
Comfort plays a huge
Yes.
part.
Yeah.
So these are some of the misconceptions that really need to be cleared and
Very
need
true.
to be ran through.
Very true.
We cannot, that's a wonderful point. When he was going through a difficult time, you know, God usually spoke to Elijah and he would hear his voice.
Yeah.
But in that time when Elijah says, take my life, and he falls asleep from his depression,
Yeah.
God did not speak to him through the voice.
Yeah.
He sent an angel
Yeah.
who lightly tapped his shoulder, and he woke up and he had prepared him
Yeah.
food. So my favorite author also says that we are love letters from God
Yes.
to other people.
Yeah.
So when someone is going through depression, let's not tell them to pray more. Let's be there for them.
Yeah.
You know, let's be that shoulder to cry on. Let's
Yeah.
forget our own problems for the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And actually be there for that person. Be there for comfort.
Yeah.
But also in that particular situation, there's something that we should realize. When Elijah said, Lord, I'm the only prophet that's still alive, kill me. God said, hey, get out of your delusion. I have 7,000 more.
Yeah.
You are not the only.
You're not the only one.
So
Yeah.
even in moments of depression, let us not run away from the facts.
Yes.
That will
Don't
not
deny
help.
the fact.
Yeah.
Let's not, because usually when people are delusional, we let them, you know, when they're depressed, they just, don't tell them the facts. You tell them that, the facts are the facts, but let's comfort them
Yes.
as well.
Yeah.
Right. And the issue of leads me to the question which says, how do you think the church can better support individuals struggling with mental health issues?
We now have how do I put it, structures that can help, like medical type structures, whereby we're going within the community and trying to tell people, okay, let's try and do this and this and this. There's ways of dealing with depression, proven ways, right? But the major thing that we should never forget as Christians is that God is the main support structure.
Right.
And God brings other people to us to try and help us in many other different ways. You might find that you've got a friend, you've got a doctor within the church, you've got a pastor. God brings those people to help us. You get what I'm saying? So again, as the church, let us not neglect or let me say ignore the responsibility that we have to go and help out people. Because that is a responsibility that we've been given by who? By God. To try and answer. As we're sitting here, we're actually answers to other people's prayers.
Yes.
That is something that we should not forget. That we are answers to other people's prayers. Because with depression and mental health, most of the time there needs to be a physical hand, a guiding hand. Be that guiding hand.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that comes now to the question, a lot of, especially men, or let's not talk about men, let's speak about because that's a topic on its own.
On its own, yeah.
But at church, there's certain, you sometimes you don't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Because of the environment that has been created in the church. People judge, gossip. So then how do you handle that? What should we do as individuals?
Okay, so let me put it this way. Firstly, I'm going to tackle as the person who's not from their point of view, whereby they're failing to try and approach people. With depression and mental health, mostly, let me say depression, coming forward is foremost the best thing you can do. Because as people, we cannot read minds, right? And reading a situation, sometimes it's just 50-50. You can never actually get a situation right by saying you're guessing. No. So as a person who's try and find a confidant, let me put it that way. You've got your pastors, there's someone you trust within the church. Come to them and say, okay, I've got this kind of problem. And now, as the church, right, or as the confidant, as I said, it is not our place to go sharing other people's secrets.
Yes.
Let us help people, and let me say, make the church feel like a safe place, as it is supposed to be, because the church is one of the safest places that is supposed to be there. Let us not take people's pain and suffering and create conversation using them. So that is basically what I can say. Let us create a safe space within the church.
On that note, also, when the pen of inspiration speaks about the prophet Ellen White, it says that when she was in church, she would sit and observe people. When she sees a particular sister that's been coming to church for about 3-4 weeks with the same dress, what she would do is she would invite her to her house for lunch.
Amazing.
And then she would, before that, she would sew a dress for her, like make a dress. And then she would invite her for lunch, eat with her, speak to her, know how she's doing. And then when she leaves, she gives her a gift. So as the church, we should have that mind to identify problems.
Exactly.
The problem is we are so self-centered
that we don't notice
about our own burdens that we're not realizing the burden that someone else has. You know, because we're always thinking about our own. But we always think ours is worse, but we're not realizing it, what Christ sent us to do, to identify what other people are going through. And know the other reason why people are not going to come to me to confide in me is because they know how I am. I'm a nasty character. I always speak badly about people, and sometimes I gossip to them about other people. So then they're not going to come to me. Then, which leads to my next question: is how do
actually before you go on to say we have become Cains in our own way, whereby God comes in and asks you, where is your brother? And you say, am I my brother's keeper? We've become Cains in our own way, the way you're saying. I love that statement. I love it very much.
And sometimes we do realize the problem that, okay, this person is burdened, this person is going through something, but then we choose to actually take that and make a mockery of it. We use that as our gossip.
Or ignore it.
Tell my friend, going to tell people, now the whole congregation. So it's sad that we actually can, we are able to, we have that talent of recognizing that the person is a problem, but then we do not do what is right.
Then that brings me to my other point is, what then do we do when the person who is confiding in you, or let's say you've identified the problem, but that person has wronged you so bad in so many ways. They've hurt you before, they've gossiped about you, they've laughed at you, but then you identify that person has a particular problem. And you realize that that's the reason why they act the way they are. How do you deal with it?
I feel like first you have to be in touch with your spiritual self. Know who you are. Because God is a reassuring God. He tells you you are the best version of yourself. He makes you to be the best version of yourself. He grooms you. Now, knowing that, and you have people out there who are pointing fingers at you, have treated you badly. I mean, Jesus went through the most. We said that before. But he still had the decency to forgive. You know, so it's good to be like him. You know, try to not find the bad in people, but find the good in them. And also be with them in prayer. Because we're not pointing fingers of like, you're a bad Christian, you're a good Christian, you're doing this. We're all Christians, but we all cannot pass. So it's a journey that we're going together. We need to hold each other hand in hand and be together as chauffeurs.
And again, we need to remember, our Lord's Prayer says, forgive us, O Lord, as we forgive others. Right. That have what? That have wronged us. So the first step is to forgive. Then after you've forgiven, you now know how to deal with whatever you've been told. Like I said, a brother, a sister in need.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for watching this first segment of ours. We're going to move on to our second segment, our question and answer, where we will deal with questions from people regards to this particular mental health topic. Catch you on the next segment.
to the second segment of our episode, whereby we are still tackling the issue of, is it wrong to feel depressed or anxious as a Christian? Now, we're going to be answering a question and answer from the youth. And the first question that we have is, how do we reconcile our faith with feelings of doubt or uncertainty?
How to reconcile our faith? Now, reconciliation is a term that I wouldn't per se like. To reconcile is to restore,
Yes.
is to build back up.
Right.
And in my belief, I think faith is not something that can be destroyed. It's not something that vanishes, not something that finishes. I feel like faith is always there. But is it there to a minute extent or to a pronounced extent? Now, I feel like the mistake that I used to do personally is I used to put my faith in the wrong places. I'll put my faith more on the problem instead of the solution. Now, a live testimony, what I actually went through is I just finished my second year of varsity. I'm not doing attachment, I'm working. Now, I had a deadline of finding a job. If I did not find a job aligning with my degree that I'm studying, I would have to wait at least another year to start the attachment and go back. Yes, another year again. So that's a 2-year delay. So I kid you not, I waited and waited and waited. I was suffering through depression and overwhelming and all that. So I was in a position where I put my faith more on what I was going through instead of what God was building me up.
How big God is.
Exactly.
You tend to focus on the size of the problem, not the size of the God.
Exactly. I thought my problems were bigger than the God. So I kid you not, a day before,
Deadline.
I will not forget this day. It was on the 29th of March. Day before, I got a call from the officers in the city council giving me the job.
Ooh.
Right, a week before I started praying, fasting and all that, getting in touch with my spiritual self, that's when I got the call. Now, referring back to the Bible, those disciples, when they were suffering in the ocean and the storm and all that, they cried to Jesus Christ, Lord, we are suffering. We are scared.
Care not that we are about to perish.
We're about to perish, exactly. And what does Jesus say? Jesus says, where is your faith? He did not say you don't have faith. Faith is there, but where is your faith? So I believe faith cannot be destroyed so that it needs reconciliation. Faith is always there. But let us learn to align our faith in the correct method.
And again, to add on that, he used the disciples in the Sea of Galilee when they were saying, cannot that we perish. I feel like sometimes we fail. We think we've taken God as a monster, let me put it that way, whereby we fail to ask these questions. When they asked this question, what I love about them asking this question, the answer that came made them understand. Because they posed the question, but the answer that came when Jesus says, like, I am here, when he says I am here, it shows that now they're like, okay, we asked, does he not care? But now it's showing that he cares because he says, I'm where? I am here. So I think sometimes we need to ask those questions, those heavy questions to say, Lord, I'm here, I'm suffering, what's going on? You get what I'm saying? We've got many instances within the Bible when people ask, Lord, do you not care? But God comes in with this blockbuster answer. You feel like it's blockbuster, but it's the simplest of answers. And you're like, oh, okay, you do care.
I think also what the person who's asking the question is saying, how do I reconcile is, and how do I actually apply my faith in times of doubt and uncertainty? And you already tackled it so well that when you were in this period of waiting, you were praying and fasting. I wonder why, though, even I do it myself, why we always wait for things to go wrong.
Before
pray, but we should always be constantly, pray without ceasing, which brings me to my next question is, how can we distinguish between spiritual struggles and mental health? Is there a difference between the two? Are they the same thing? Does one lead to the other?
Well, this is going to be interesting, but I'm going to try my best. So the thing is, again, let me first put this to order. We've got problems. I love the question because we've got problems within the church or outside, whereby people see mental health as spiritualism, let me put it that way, whereby people think someone is demon possessed or whatever, while it's literally just suffering. You get what I'm saying? Of which we need to be able to differentiate.
Yes.
Right. Number one, with spiritualism, there is no way of putting a finger to it to say, okay, this is spiritual. That's why we're saying we need the prayer aspect of it. Because, like I said, the guiding hand is God. You're being, as the helper, you're being guided by God to help someone who's suffering, to help someone, to pull someone out of a certain situation. Because they're in the pit, you've been given a rope, but who's holding the rope on the other hand? That is God. You get what I'm saying? So, for the spiritual aspect part of it, there's no way to put a finger to it. But when it comes to depression, mental health, there's a way of putting that to it. There's a way to diagnose all those kinds of things. Like we said, in the medical field, there is professionals who are there to help us identify. You get what I'm saying? Now, there's other things again whereby as Christians or as people outside there, we usually see education platforms or pamphlets and everything that can help us to try and say, okay, this person has got a problem. But we try and avoid those. I don't know why people are so afraid of education. The education aspect is there. The only thing that we have to do is give time to learn, to say, how do we do this? How do we to notice or to recognize these things, because there is signs and symptoms. To every problem, there's a what? There's a sign and a symptom.
Yes. I think as well, when you speak about education, then someone's going to be thinking, okay, then are you saying now I have to go study about these things? And the beautiful thing is that there's a book that I'm currently reading, because this book has helped me and is helping me personally with my mental struggles. You know, the book Mind, Character, Personality by Ellen White. That is a beautiful book. She puts it plainly that people think that religion is what forces people to actually go insane. But religion is actually the only solution to insanity. Because when you're insane, you have nothing to hold on to. Your mind is not being pushed in a certain direction. You're just floating. But when you have a purpose, when you know there's a God that loves you, it brings you back. It gives you a foundation, a strong foundation. That is an amazing book. And I think also it helps us as well to pinpoint, to say, what is a spiritual struggle and what is a mental health problem? Because if, let's say, I got into an accident when I was young, and I've got PTSD, post-traumatic syndrome disorder, that's a mental health struggle. But if I have a spiritual struggle where I'm actually affected or visited by demons, a demonic depression, that's different things. But like what he said, it's usually hard to like pinpoint which is which, but at the beginning and at the base of everything is prayer. When you pray, you just ask God to show you what things are
what's up.
Yes. But then also as people who are helping others, like you read up as much as you can on, because to be able to help others, you have to enrich yourself, right? But it also comes also asking the right questions. If someone can't help themselves, you should know what questions to ask. Ask them. How has your life been? How is your personal life? Anything
How are you?
extra that has ever happened to you before that can cause this. So, you know, and when you get to know someone, then it helps you to be able to pinpoint.
On the issue of prayer, it brings me to the question that says, what role does prayer play in managing mental health struggles?
You know, I used to like the way when Jesus would pray. We've got sessions where Jesus would pray. We've got sessions where Moses, especially Moses, Moses would have a conversation with God to say, Lord,
one-on-one.
You didn't find Moses. Most of the time, you didn't find Moses praying in a whole lot of group of people, because he knows when we're together, we're talking to God. I'm talking to God on behalf of you, but when I need that one-on-one session, you know, he'd climb up a mountain, he'd go to that secluded space to say, Lord, like you're saying, it's a conversation. Because, you know, when you're having a conversation with someone, there's those kinds of conversations. Like I said, when we're speaking to our counselors, it's usually a one-on-one. You get what I'm saying? Except if it's a couple or something, but mostly it's one-on-one. God is the master counselor.
Yes, true. And
one-on-one.
He's not going to tell you,
my friend, he's not going to tell your problems to anybody else.
Also, then that leads to my next question. I want to know what, because someone asked me this question, that's why I'm asking it. But how does your personal relationship with God, what is the importance of the personal relationship with God in terms of how you deal with your struggles, how you deal with depression, how you deal with anxiety? How important is it to know God?
Okay.
In that, and what does it help with?
Okay, so the thing is, some other people, like the previous question, were saying it's a conversation.
Yeah.
We expect an answer from God. That's the thing. Some people usually think maybe I'm supposed to feel something now. Yeah. But here's the thing. God, mostly, He has already responded. The Bible is one key area to find a response. Because most of the questions we ask, they've been answered in the Bible. We've got examples in the Bible.
Yes.
It's like the Bible is, I usually like to call it a roadmap to Christian life, if you get what I'm saying. So now, on your question, it's the foundation I have with God, right? I'll tell him something, but now, if you read your Bible quite well, you've got a better understanding of God's MO, let me say, method of operation or mode of operation. Yeah. Because you'll find when he was speaking with Elijah, when he was talking to Elijah, there's some things that he done. The Bible speaks to us in a let me say, in a physical manner to say you can relate.
It's personal.
It's personal. You get what I'm saying? Most of the struggles you're going through, you'll find them in the Bible. You'll find the solution in there.
It's actually a very powerful point, because this is not an idea that we're speaking about.
It's not,
This is practical.
It's practical,
In my personal struggles, I was reading, there's a point in my life where I lost everything, where God had just blessed me.
Yeah.
Then after that, things went. But then I had been reading about David when he was in Ziklag, when he had gone to war, and then when he came back, he found his family, his riches, everything was
gone.
And then he says to God, Lord, shall I overtake the Amalekites? Then God says, overtake, for you shall surely recover everything. When I was reading that statement, the joy or the peace that came to me in knowing that David went through it. Same God who's the God of David is my same God. So thank you for watching this wonderful episode where we dealt with mental health. Hopefully in the future we can delve deeper. But at the end of the day, please be a help to someone else. Identify problem. Let us teach our minds to identify the problem. And also, if you are going through a difficult time, find time to speak to God. But more practically, find people that you can trust, people that are trained, or people who can just be a listening ear to you as you address your situation. People who can pray with you, for you, and help you with your condition. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.